Welcome to ACD Combatives, your combatives and control tactics channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Kurt. Please support the channel. I appreciate the ones that do. I have about 72, 73 followers. I appreciate it a lot. Half of them are civilian martial artists and the other half are cops. That's interesting to me, but we won't get into that. This video is about PTSD. I did a video 6, 7, 8 months ago. I can't remember how long I've had the channel now. It's been a little under a year, but I created it last year. And I think February, March of last year. So almost a year now. I've had some unofficial requests about PTSD and my issues and things I'm doing to deal with it. And I say unofficial because it's not in the comments and it's not via agency email or official government email. By government, it could be from a county deputy or a city officer or a state officer or whoever, people I know and work with from outside agencies. I get a lot of unofficial comments or via face-to-face or via some phone calls I've had in the last couple months. And before I get any further, and I pushed this book in my first video, here let me cover my ugly face, Emotional Survival for Law Enforcement. Guys, this is a great video, or a great book. Before I transferred to my new duty station, my old therapist, she didn't have a lot of experience with cops, she had a lot of experience with veterans, military veterans, with PTSD from military service, mostly combat related. And my current therapist is kind of the same way. It's kind of hard to find a therapist that specializes in just law enforcement, nor should you necessarily find one that specializes in just law enforcement. Guys, PTSD is PTSD, but it's nice to know that your therapist has a basic understanding. And the military connection, I was in the military, I was in peacetime military, peacetime army, so I have no combat PTSD. My PTSD, was earned with 23 years in law enforcement. And the reason I bring it up now is my therapist in my last session, this is yesterday, she says, can you think of any particular incident lately that bothers you? Nothing had come to mind. Well, a little bit, and then we'll get to that in a second. But most law enforcement officers, most cops can sympathize and understand that, yes, there are several incidents that happened to you throughout the years that you can oh yeah, this was a biggie, this was a biggie, this was a biggie. But it's even more so, at least for me, the way I relate to it. It's different for everybody, guys. Your PTSD could be different than mine. But it's that continuous condition yellow that you are in, constantly thinking that ninjas are going to attack you from the wire and the world's going to fall in and collapse and zombies are attacking when you're out patrolling. You should always be in that condition yellow, prepared for anything. And we all know that 95% of the job can be boredom or non-eventful. I hate to say routine, because there is no routine in law enforcement. The idea of routine in law enforcement can get you killed all in and of itself. But you know what I'm saying, your regular day-to-day issues, you might have some snippy, jerky people to deal with on occasion, but it's that continuous condition yellow. Now my patrol habits and area is going to be different than yours. Again, you know that I'm a rural law enforcement officer. I work in the boonies. And I live in a city that's more liberal, but I work in a more conservative county, 45 minutes or so away from where I live. And so it's different for me than it might be for you. Like if you're a New York City cop, your call volume is going to be way higher. Totally different kind of policing, but one thing we all have in common is the kind of stress that can go with the job, the not knowing. A city cop might have way more call volume, but their backup is 5-10 minutes away, where my backup is an hour, it's 2 hours away sometimes. It depends on where you are at in your patrol area, you all understand. But so that in itself can be a level of stress. Continuously being asked to think outside of the box and fix problems that you weren't trained to fix. I mean, cops today, we're social workers, we're cops, we're counselors, we're so many hats that we wear. But back to the story, I didn't have an answer for her. But one thing came to mind that had recently happened. And it wasn't even my case. It was in my jurisdiction, and I had just transferred to my current duty area, and there was a dead female who had been bound and I believe raped and murdered and dumped in the boonies. I remember thinking that I was eating my lunch driving to the incident. You all know what I'm talking about. You eat your lunch when you're driving sometimes. I obviously didn't bring my lunch into the crime scene. That would have been bad juju, but I did my thing, helped out the other agency. Again, brand new to the patrol area, so it was just the first time I actually met any of the local cops from another agency, and that was nice. But you know, and we were all discussing things. Ran into a sergeant who also does jujitsu, and so we talked about that and waiting for the detectives to do their thing, you know, the detective magic. And when it was all said and done, about an hour later, I went back to my truck, did my little paperwork on my in-vehicle computer, and was eating my lunch. Didn't think anything of it. And then I went home, and the wife said, "Hey, what happened at work today?" "Oh, nothing." "Oh, yeah, there was a dead body, blah, blah, blah." And she was really upset about it. And she said she had nightmares that night about it. And it dawned on me, and I know you all know exactly what I'm talking about, that why didn't it bother me? Well, how many dead bodies have you dealt with? Well, you all know what I'm talking about. You've been to these calls time and time again over the years. And again, I've been in the job since '97. Different agency at the time. Been several different agencies, state, local, county, that I've been with. But that bothered me. It bothered me that it didn't bother me. And that I addressed with her. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about as far as things that I might be able to work on. But guys, I still get anxious. One thing that I've noticed is I don't get anxious on the job. I can be literally in the moment. Felony car stop, your weapon is out, you're giving commands, adrenaline's going, and you are going like a Swiss clock. You are just, you know, you fall back into your training, you fall back into your experience, and when I'm stressed, it's usually when it's one of those patrol days that everything is going good and there's nothing out there. The birds are singing, the sun is out, it's a beautiful day. And that's when I start getting anxious. I noticed that, and maybe I'll do another video about certain things that I use, different concepts I use to manage my anxiety other than just medication. Citalopram, guys, awesome shit. I recommend it for everyone. They should put it in the city water. But stress is different for everybody. I don't even know where I'm going with some of this, other than I'm trying to make other officers aware that it's okay. Your agency isn't going to, well, I can't say for your agency, but generally speaking in law enforcement, it's not a big deal. Get it, deal with it, get it taken care of, go get help, see a therapist, see a psychiatrist. Big difference between a psychiatrist. I have a psychiatrist and I have a therapist, two different animals. A psychiatrist I meet with like every 3 months, just make sure everything's good. It's very different from my therapy sessions. I mean, he's more or less the guy that writes the script for my citalopram, so you know he wants to make sure everything's fine and how are you doing, and very different. You need a therapist, and you need a therapist in conjunction with medication. You may not need medication at all, but you know, I wouldn't recommend just medication without therapy, guys. Don't think that therapy is a bad thing and that you're weak because you have a therapist. It's a super important part of the healing process. And it's not like you see a therapist for 3 months and you're healed. Guys, I still have PTSD and I still have issues once in a while, but it's super manageable. I have nothing going on in my world right now that's causing the excess stress. Now it would be if I had never admitted to myself that I had PTSD, guys. There's people out there that have PTSD, as far as probably other cops, and they know it or they suspect it, but they're afraid. And this video is for you. If you're afraid that it's going to interfere with your job, your PTSD is interfering with your job. The therapy and going to get help from your agency that's going to help. Don't be afraid of that. If you do not address the issues you're having, it will explode on you. or he will implode, is how I like to think of it, because that's exactly what cops do. We implode. We suck everything up and we don't talk about it, and you implode. And guys, don't be that person. Don't be another statistic. So this, again, messages out for all my brothers and sisters in law enforcement. You're a human being. It's nothing wrong if you have PTSD. How could you not do law enforcement in the 21st century and not have some issues? If you don't have issues, then you're genetically gifted. You mentally and deal with the stress better than most. There are some people that just deal with stress way better. But if you're like me and you develop PTSD because of the job, deal with it. If you don't deal with it, you have issues. You will implode. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna quit with one all in my head. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, email me, text me, send me a Raven, like in Game of Thrones. Whatever, just contact me. I am here to talk to you if you need someone to talk to, but most likely you don't want to talk to my ugly mug. Find someone that you trust, but definitely get a therapist. Medication is fine, guys. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't dull my senses. That was a concern for me. Like, if I take medication, am I going to be like too happy and I'll be making car stops without my head in the game? And I was concerned about that stuff, guys. My head is still in the game, maybe even better now, because I'm really, really focused. All right, guys, like, subscribe, and share. Please stay safe.
Let's roll. Hey, let's be careful out.